Hello friend, and welcome. Gosh, I'm sorry, it's so long since I last posted an update on YouTube that I've quite forgotten where I am and what I'm doing. And it's not helped by the fact that there's actually a weird kind of sci-fi time slip thing going on here with this video, because at the time of recording the voiceover right now, we are well into autumn. The leaves are turning golden on the trees, we have misty overcast mornings, the nights are drawing in, it's getting all dark and cozy, and oh my gosh, I love it. Autumn is my favourite season. I think I love all the seasons, and I need that turning of the seasons to feel alive. Really, I think our life is seasonal in many ways, and the natural seasons help us to navigate that. I particularly love autumn because it's pie season. It's when I can stop eating summery salads and start eating pumpkins and pies again. But the time weirdness is because at the time I was painting this painting, this is the third in my sort of trilogy of meadowscape paintings from when I lived in Canterbury, of Kingsmead. It's not even a meadow, it's a playing field, but it just had this lovely meadowed area, just a tiny little strip of cared for wild plants that local volunteers cultivated. But I was painting this back in the height of summer, as you can see from my attire and the ever-changing light in this sequence. It was maybe 5 weeks ago maybe, and the reason for this shortfall is we've been away we had 3 weeks off work, which is amazing. I don't think either my fiance or I had a holiday, either of us, for nigh on 10 years. It's 2025 now, and the last time I actually went away on a proper holiday was 2016. So it was hard won, and we definitely needed it. And it was a wonderful, magical experience. We went on a pilgrimage, walking the Camino Primitivo from Oviedo in northern Spain to Santiago de Compostela on the sort of closer to the west coast. And I will make a separate post about that, I'm sure. But for now, I just wanted to speak a little bit about what's been going on, and I suppose rounding off this trilogy of paintings, which is the first set of paintings that I've done for a very long time. And oh dear, excuse me, I'll just need to take a little sip of my water, which may or may not actually be red wine. Excuse me. Oh, that's better. Where was I? Yes, this series of paintings. Cosmo break, right on time. Regular viewers will recognise Tolly from previous videos. This is the newest member of our furry family, Cosmo. And as you can see, she is as excellent an art critic as Tolly is. So her opinion, when she ventures it, is always most welcome. Anyway, I've mentioned in a previous couple of videos how I left fine art behind me many years ago, because at that time, soon after I graduated, it just seemed everything was going digital, and the constant messaging was, if you want to have any kind of a career in the visual arts, then certainly also for me, if you lean slightly more maybe towards design and illustration than traditional fine art necessarily, career-wise at least, then yeah, it was just get to grips with Photoshop, Illustrator, Corel Draw, as was at the time, all the others. And yeah, for various reasons, I left fine art behind me, and it has felt really wonderful being able to get back into it again. And this is the largest canvas in this trio. It made sense, I felt, given that I hadn't done this for very many years, to start small with the first one, which I think was just 10 inches by 14, and second one and this one are more sort of like the 20 by 24, 16 by 20 kind of size. This is the largest and final one, at least of this series. All the reference images were taken again in high summer, so there was a lovely synchronicity for me being able to paint this during what has been a very long, hot and dry summer. It's been absolutely glorious, I have to say. Normally summers in England are a little bit drab and underwhelming, but this year has been great. Of course, the hot weather comes with its challenges, and the prolonged drought, I think, has been the only sort of distressing elements for me, feeling how the climate is changing very dramatically. And it just annoys me that I've been banging on about conservation and pollution and protecting our environment since I was a child. I'm now middle-aged, and still it just seems like no one important gives a shit. Sorry to pardon my French, but these things make me angry, which is why I disappear into these tiny little pockets of nature, like these tiny strips of wild meadow growing between a housing estate and a playing field. It was just this tiny little ribbon of natural beauty that I could escape to in times of strife and I was about to say mental instability then. That makes me sound rather more unhinged than I was at the time, but we all go through times in life, don't we, when work is getting on top of us. And particularly, I've spoken about this in some previous videos, that time in your sort of late 30s, as I was at the time when I took a lot of the reference photos, and I was taking them and thinking, gosh, one day I'm going to get back into painting, and when I do, I would love to do some sort of slightly abstract, impressionistic renditions of these lovely little meadows. Apologies, I'm rambling and I have lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Someone remind me. Maybe it's time for another sip of wine, and which it's water, of course. It may or may not actually be wine. Anyway, yes, the reason why I've been quite delayed in posting this video is because I had really wanted to be able to get it out there before we went away on holiday. I'd got all the footage together, and I'd actually recorded some raw footage for some other videos I wanted to do. And now basically my hard drive and my OneDrive are heaving under the weight of all this 4K footage that I need to either use or jettison at this point. But I've been feeling, to be honest, a little bit guilty over this gloriously long hot summer that we've had, that I just wasn't being productive enough, not making enough prints, not doing enough paintings, not making enough videos and getting the editing done in time, and all these various creative projects. And I'm the kind of person who, I wouldn't say I'm one of those people who struggles to switch off, because I love switching off. I love relaxing with my favourite films and video games, and just going for long walks. And our holiday to Santiago was just extraordinary. And as I say, it wasn't just a holiday, it was a pilgrimage, so quite a lot of hard work. And that is just typical of me. I think that I go on a holiday for the first time in 10 odd years, and it ends up being not relaxing, but adventurous. But I enjoyed an awful lot of just sitting in the garden sipping wine if I'm honest, and planting things and watching them grow. And yeah, I did struggle with a bit of guilt that I should have been doing more with my spare time, but I forced myself to understand that while some people slow down in the winter months when it's all dark, I think I'm the opposite. When it's dark, I want to get inside and be making art, but when it's summery, and as I say, it's so rare that we get a really blazing hot summer in the UK, I want to be out there enjoying the glorious sunshine and all of the fruits that summer has to bring. So I managed to squash some of those feelings of not feeling productive enough, and give myself time to finish this painting in my own time and get the video out whenever I could. And what I'm doing here is just coming in with a palette knife. Sorry, I should have said at the beginning, these are all acrylic paintings on canvas that I've been creating. I have been starting to experiment with adding a little bit of water-soluble oils over the top, but I think that will be best saved for my next project, because, as I say, there were many years out in the wilderness where I was just working digitally, and it's only very recently that I've enjoyed coming back to painting on canvas again. So sticking to acrylics, which are a medium that I know very well. That's how I learned to paint in this manner in school. Basically watercolors, inks, acrylics and marker pens. Oh, and watercolor pencils, absolute favorites of mine. Those are, I think, all of my mediums of choice, really. And of course lino cut painting as well, which I never trained in. I only had a little sort of taster session when I was a teenager, but I've discovered that as well relatively late in life, and I'm enjoying working in a number of different media now. But oils have always been slightly, I don't know if intimidating is the right word. It's just, I've always thought, oh god, I can't be bothered with having to mess about with a load of paint thinner, which stinks and probably isn't very good for you. And worrying about ruining my brushes with this stuff that could very easily get all caked on if you don't use the right thinner to strip it off, and will it ruin my brushes, all the rest of it. And a lot of it is just, it's not so much fear as laziness, if I'm honest. But I think it's important. Oh, another Cosmo break. And it was about this time in the progress of this painting, I have to say, I realised I was running out of some rather essential supplies. Cadmium yellow is one of my favourites, and there are a few others as well. So I decided to go free range for a day and hang out in Bath, which is kind of just up the road from me. It's about a 20 minutes train journey. And there's this lovely art shop there, so shout out to Minerva. The staff in there are lovely, they're very knowledgeable. They've got lots of great stock in there, and I got to hang out with this guy in a random coffee shop and enjoy some very tasty goodies, and generally just feel like a bit of a bougie twat for a day. Sorry again, pardon my French. But in all seriousness, since we moved from Kent to Wiltshire, I wouldn't change it for the world, but I'm very aware that my world has shrunk considerably because we've moved from, Canterbury is quite a, it's a small city. It's only a city because it has a cathedral in it, but it's a large bustling town with lots of very cool shops and coffee joints and lovely farmers markets and wine shops, that kind of thing. And I because I'm an introvert, I've never had many friends. I find it very difficult to meet new people and make friends, but there was a time when I did have a small handful of really good friends there in Canterbury, and we've all gradually kind of gone our separate ways, which on the one hand is a little bit sad, but also life has to move on, doesn't it? And I think we're all, in our own way, just doing what's right for us. And as long as we stay in touch and remember the good times and continue to make more good times, then that's all for the better, isn't it? Sorry to get all philosophical there, but yeah, because I work from home mainly, I occasionally go into London. Oh dear, excuse me. But for the most part, I try to work from home because going into London is stressful and expensive. And I'd just much rather be here with the cats and then spend my evenings doing cool stuff like this, rather than having a 2.5 hour commute at the end of my day, having done the same 2.5 hour commute in the morning at like stupid o'clock, which in winter means getting up when it's dark, basically nighttime, and not getting home until long after it is also nighttime. Did that for many years. It's not great for either physical or mental health. So yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. I will still do it occasionally because there are benefits of going into London and being in the workplace and seeing my colleagues and all the rest of it. But yeah, I have to be more discerning and conscientious, I suppose, about choosing when I go in and why I go in. And obviously going in, when I absolutely have to. But yeah, I do understand that it's important for me to get out occasionally and go to some of the nearby towns and cities that we have around here, which often means either just catching a lift with my partner when he goes into work and he can drop me off somewhere, or hopping on a train for 15-20 minutes, because honestly there just isn't much around here for me to go out and enjoy. And just enjoying working in a cafe for a day instead of being at home, it does wonders, and it really helps my creativity. And obviously being able to support local businesses and independent shops wherever possible is very important to me as well. I should say, you occasionally will see me flipping my canvas upside down to paint. There are two reasons for this. One is that I paint all around the edges of my canvases. I deliberately create an image that wraps all the way around because I love the three-dimensional quality of paintings. It's something that obviously you don't get with digital art, which will always only ever be on some kind of a screen. And because I use quite a lot of, I try to use some impasto kind of techniques in my paintings. It's a bit difficult, I would say, with acrylics. There are a couple of different mediums that I add to the paints to make them more viscous and help them to stand proud of the canvas, and add some textural grain into the paint itself, and that helps a great deal. But wrapping the image all the way around the canvas really helps to expand and give the impression that this scene continues beyond the confines of the frame. It's a nice little sort of visual trick that I feel you don't get so much if you stick a painting in a frame. I can't remember if I've mentioned this in previous videos, but I'm a bit sanguine, should we say, about frames for paintings. I can see the point of them when they are very simple, to the extent that you almost do not notice the frame. But so often people put paintings into frames that are just gaudy and frankly a little bit tasteless and tacky, and I think, I don't want to look at the frame, I want to look at the painting. That's the main thing, isn't it? So yeah, sorry, little sermon there, my thoughts on paintings in frames. But the other reason, perhaps more importantly, why I flip my paintings upside down occasionally to work on them, is because when you're working on an image, your brain automatically is kind of filling in a lot of gaps, and it's a bit like proofreading your own writing. You won't necessarily see all the typos and little spelling mistakes and grammatical areas, that is not a phrase, all the grammatical errors when you read your own writing. But when someone else reads it, or when you read someone else's writing, these things become very apparent. You get a similar sort of effect with paintings and drawings, and for me, I will often find that I have depicted something that's a little bit wonky or uneven, or I've got the perspective a little bit wrong, and I don't see it because my brain painted this thing obviously thinking that it was right. But when I flip it upside down, or I view it in a mirror, you can either get a handheld mirror and hold it up to the thing, or you can move it around, or you can use your phone to take a picture and then flip that and rotate it. I do that quite often because it's a nice easy way to do that. But yeah, when you either flip or rotate an image, you can really see it for what it is. And here is this image for what it is. I'm going to call it there. I'm sorry I've ranted about a lot of stuff that isn't really the painting, but I will leave you with this final thought that it is important for us to embrace all of life's seasons. And if you're the kind of person like me who just wants to get out there and enjoy the sun whilst it shines and just immerse yourself in the good times, then by all means do it, because everything else will still be there waiting for you when it's done. Oh, I don't want to go yet. It's too soon. I never give myself quite enough time to actually say all the things I want to say. So sorry if I've been rambling and waffling. Right, I think we're going to call it there with these last lovely fat close-ups on the impasto texture. Thank you so much again for spending time with me today. I really enjoy our time together. And yeah, I will look forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then, take care, God bless. Ta-ta for now.